What's good, everybody? This is Gamerz here, and we have myself, Justin Carter. I'm putting my real name out there so you guys can stalk me and find my address and everything. And and we have Katitu here as well.
What's going on, you guys? How's everyone doing this Friday?
We got Mr. Switch Nintendo Power Life.
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
We got Retro Styles.
Happy Friday, y'all. How you guys doing?
And we have SwitchBIT, who is covering for One Up, Level Up, and QA Ninja. What's going on, SwitchBIT?
What's up? How y'all doing?
We all right.
Awesome.
So SwitchBIT, you're new here. Nobody knows who you are. So
Yeah, say it like that.
Yeah, all right.
But it's not a bad thing. That means we're about to get to know you, bro. I mean, so like let's start from the basics. Let's go over your gaming history, man.
Okay. So I'm 30. Oh man, I'm about to be 37 years old. So I started gaming when I was 5. Atari 2600, and we didn't have a whole lot growing up, but I remember when my brothers brought Atari 2600 home. I was 5 years old. I got to play Moon Patrol. I actually just recently made a song about it because it was like such an impactful moment in my life. And from then on, I was all about games. It was just amazing to see all the stuff that I could do with a controller in my hand. The graphics just blew me away. I know that's crazy to think of now, like, little 4-bit graphics blowing you away, but it blew my 5-year-old mind. And then I didn't play much else Atari. I think I played like Pitfall Harry or something. But then my dad got me a NES when I was 8 years old. And like literally from then on, it was Nintendo all day. That's all. I didn't want to go outside or do nothing. It was Nintendo all day long. I started collecting games back then. I go to KB Toys and just go to the clearance section and just buy all the games I could with my allowance money, After that, I kind of got into the Sega Genesis. I'm not a huge SNES guy. I know that's kind of like sacrilege in this day and age. There's a few games I like, but I was a huge Sega fan. And then the N64 came out, Mario 64. And ever since then, I've been a Nintendo head. I play everything. I'm not a fanboy. I'm a fan. And so I got a PlayStation, Xbox. I have all the old like Turbo Graphics. I play everything that I can, but Nintendo is definitely where I'm at. That's like the main content that I do. It's the main stuff that I play. It's nearest and dearest to my heart for sure.
I'm looking in your background right now. I see a Nintendo, like an original Nintendo 64. I see a GameCube.
Oh, yeah.
I see a Wii. I see all your Nintendo 64 games.
Oh, that's not all. That's those are just the ones I'm displaying.
Xenoblade Chronicles. I see all that back there, man. You got an impressive collection back there.
Yeah, this is I'm working on it. My wife, I'm not gonna say she made me because she gets mad when I say that, but like I had the typical background that most like YouTubers do, where it's just like tons of games everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But like she didn't way that looks. So my closet is just stacked from the floor up with games. So I got to do something about that. I had to pick what I wanted back here.
So like what I'm thinking about doing now that you bring that up is like taking a picture of like all that stuff, like get like a shelf and like put all my games and collections up there, take a picture and then green screen it because this is my living room. So
That is a great idea, dude.
SwitchBIT, how long have you been on YouTube? How's that adventure been for you?
Not long. Well, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I've been on for about, I guess, a year and a half. I started in late 2018, and I had a couple friends who were just making, like not even like original content. They were just kind of like streaming and stuff. They weren't like YouTube personalities, and they just kind of encouraged me to hop up on here. And that's what I did. And at first, it was literally me just showing the games that I found because I like hunt garage sales and pawn shops and all that kind of stuff. So I started this thing. My very first video was called Hunt Them Games. And that's kind of what I still do. But I've definitely branched out since then. And I was doing like one video a month. Like it was just kind of dabbling in it. And it wasn't good. If you go back, like the camera's awful. I don't have a microphone. It sounds awful, but I was doing it. They said just make content. You don't have to make it good at first. Just like try your best with what you got and grow into where you want to be. So that's kind of what I did. And then a few months later, I got this mic right here. My now wife got me that mic. There you go. Yeah, I mean, she got me that mic for Christmas, and
Oh, nice.
yeah, it was huge for me because then I started branching into music and doing rap music, video game inspired rap music. So that's what I do. I'd honestly say that's like my main passion right now on YouTube, is just putting out music based on video games and stuff. So I've been learning all that editing, and I think I've gotten like better at it. You know, there's always room to improve, but I'm working on. I just recently got lights. Can't see, but I mean, just to make everything look better. I'm trying to be more professional looking, but I've been loving YouTube. Like, I've met a lot of people. Mr. Switch was actually one of the few first people who like showcased one of my songs on his streams, and he like brought me in and got me.
That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was a really big deal because I had like less than 100 subs at that time, and like nobody knew who I was at all. But it gave me a little bit of attention, and yeah, it was definitely cool. So I've definitely met some cool people here in Twitter as well. You know, it's all kind of like a big family. It feels like.
I have a very important question for you.
Yeah.
What is your favorite video game of all time? I know that's a loaded question.
It's so hard. Well, if that's a question that like you could ask me today, and it might be different the next week, just feeling, you know, how nostalgic you are, like, because there's so many games to pull from and so many important games. Because obviously, you know, Mario 64 is a huge game. It was instrumental in changing the landscape of gaming, and it had a big impact on me. I could name a bunch of games like that, but my number one favorite game of all time is not even a Nintendo game. It's Final Fantasy 11.
What?
Yeah. Have you all played that at all?
Yes. And we have two Final Fantasy people here, and yes.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy.
7's my favorite.
Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'm not gonna knock the single. I love the single player games, but Final Fantasy 11 was my first MMO, and like I have memories of that game, like I have memories of like real life, because I met people and had these like adventures and experiences with, you know, hundreds of people and you know, thousands of people. Basically, it's my first time experiencing like an online game like that, and I played it for thousands of hours over the course of like 5 or 6 years. So that game has had the most impact on me. And if I like had one game to play on a desert island, that would definitely be it. Definitely.
Cool.
Yeah.
I remember you.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I remember you talking about that on your video about when you made it 250 subscribers, and like you went on for a minute about Final Fantasy.
I can go in like if any of y'all played it, like I'd go nerd mode straight up. I would, you know, be talking to.
I have. It's really good. Final Fantasy, and then they branched and did a Realm Reborn from that, so it just got huger and huger from there. So yeah, I 100% understand the experience of being able to play with others, like thousands of people in a Final Fantasy game, and you're just like, dude, you know, this is what we've all kind of dreamed of, to kind of be in a Final Fantasy inspired world and just experience everything like that. So I 100% feel you on that one.
Everybody hop on a chocobo and like take off.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So
dude,
cool.
riding a chocobo is cool. Like, that's my dream. If any pet in the world, if I could bring to life, I was like, dude, give me a chocobo, a red chocobo, and just let it just chill on my lawn. So people are like, what the heck is that? It's like, it's a chocobo. Like, what do you mean, what is a chocobo?
My son asked me, he says, "Is the chocobo real, Dad?" I'm all, "It's as real as you want it to be, son."
Right?
Hey, we have the technology to genetically modify it, so we can make it happen. Get some horse genes, get some chicken genes.
Put them together.
Right?
Make it happen.
All right, guys. SwitchBIT, welcome, man. I'm glad we're finally able to get you on here. Today is actually not even going to be about Nintendo. We are going to focus today just on the PlayStation. Now, there's been a lot going on with the PlayStation. They had the reveal that happened, or their little stream that happened, I think a week or two ago. They released a very, very big game that was highly anticipated as of today. But before we get into all that, I want to know, like, you know, what is your guys' favorite game for the PlayStation. And I'm going to go on a limb and say a lot of us love Final Fantasy VII. I'm going to actually guys exclude that right now.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
come on.
Oh wait, that's you can't do that. What's going on here?
Cool, because we're all gonna say it. I was
Yeah,
gonna say it.
that's what that would be my
Yeah.
answer too.
I was gonna say it. I was gonna say it.
I'm actually gonna go with another RPG though. The Legend of Legaia.
Oh yeah.
That was one of my I streamed it about a little under a year ago, and it's one of my favorite games to stream because I love that game so much because it kind of like if you look at how RPG games are today, they're more difficult. It's harder to make money. It's harder to get items, and as compared to RPGs, or back in the day, like they're just dirt easy. Legend of Legaia is easily one of the most difficult RPG games I played during the 90s, late 2000s. And story was good. Didn't really like the sequel, but the first one was awesome. I loved it. What about you guys?
Well, do we have to pick one? Can we pick like 2 or like 3 or something like that from
Two
like
max.
each generation?
Two max.
All right. Going back to what SwitchBIT said, man, because when he said what's your favorite game, because it's like it's nostalgia. Like I can say it's this today, and then tomorrow I can say, oh man, I love playing this just because of that. Whatever I experienced during that time, I was like, dude, this game was awesome. But I say, okay, I'm just gonna stick to one. My favorite PlayStation game of all time was Spider-Man. That was released 2018, September 9th. I remember that day because it's very significant. I love that. That was my favorite day because they had an awesome Spider-Man game. The reason I loved it so much is because it's like they really took the time to grasp who Peter Parker was. It wasn't just about Spider-Man because in every other game, it's just Spider-Man's problems, Spider-Man's problems. It's more of like, hey, this is more like Peter's problems. You're dealing with just the life of having to be Spider-Man. You deal with you see Peter dealing with relationship problems with MJ, his job, and trying to fit everything into being Spider-Man. And besides just the story itself, the gameplay was just amazing because I played every single Spider-Man game out there, and this was like, yo, you guys we finally have a developer that got it right. And we hope that this is the developer that continues to work on Spider-Man. And you guys already seen it. And we're going to talk about that later. But Spider-Man, the Marvel Spider-Man that recently came out is probably my favorite all-time PlayStation game that's ever come out.
All right, so for me, there's one and only Tony Hawk Pro Skater. You guys have to know this was the best series. I don't have the PlayStation 1 port, but that one was cool too. The 1 and 2. And I don't have another one in front of me, but it was the Medieval series. I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with that. Man, just for some reason, it's not even like a difficult game, but it's like that adventure style game where you're going back, you're going into the tomb, you're going to fight. And I'm going one more. There you go, Kotetsu. This is for you, Kotetsu.
Spider-Man 1 and 2. Oh my gosh.
Spider-Man 2 and 3 for the PS2. But yeah, pretty awesome stuff. You can't get away from the PS1 and the PS2. They're pretty awesome.
I guess I'll go next. I have a very, very fond memory of a game on the PlayStation 1. And it was actually the first PlayStation 1 game that I owned. My older brother, I was 12 at the time, I think, 12 or 13. My older brother brought it home. It was called Legacy of Kain.
Yeah.
The very first one, Blood Omen Legacy of Kain. And, I had never, just the fact that it was talking, like, because it's so cinematic. Looking back now, it looks awful, but it's laughable. But yeah, it was like so dark and gruesome, and it told this really cool story, and the voice acting was amazing. It blew my mind. And I didn't really like many of the later Legacy of Kain games, and they went multi-platform after that, anyways. But that original one was PlayStation 1 exclusive, and it's a game that I hold near and dear to my heart for sure. I want them to remake it without all the load times and HD graphics. I would buy a system just for that game. And if you haven't played it, It was by Silicon Knights, and they went on to make Eternal Darkness and Too Human, but we don't talk about that too much. And I think it was Amy Hennig who at least penned the first, I think, 3 Uncharted games. You know, she was involved in the storytelling there. So there's like a lot of people that worked in that game that went on to make like really, really great games in the series too.
That's a bad game. I was about to say that game, but I couldn't remember the name right off the top of my head. But the Soul Reaper is really cool. How he opens up, he goes, and then you can switch back and forth between worlds where you're a human, and then you go back and you're reaving for those souls. You're right, Switch, but that'd be a good remake.
All right, should I go next? So, I want to say 2 favorite games of all time. I'm going to say, firstly, I'm going to say really quick, Final Fantasy 7, then I'm going to skip that real quick. And I'm going to say second one that really contends with it, maybe is one of the best of all time in terms of PlayStation, will be The Last of Us, the original. Just playing that game alone, I mean, as much as I loved the Final Fantasy 7 game, this one just got me so intense. It gets you with full emotion, just like the other one does. Just again, The Last of Us here, it brings a nostalgia feeling knowing that the next one just came out, but I can't stop playing that original one. It's one of the main or only games that gets that replay value that you don't get in most games. That's for my opinion. It's just like I go back each time. I'll go back to it now. It's just that I'm usually mostly Nintendo, but the PlayStation games are so damn good, and I want to try to put that more into what I'm doing, and maybe consider changing the whole, like I call myself Nintendo Part of Life. It might just be turned into Gaming Part of Life or something like that. I don't know. I have to figure it out because I want to start showcasing what Sony and PlayStation really does have. I mean, again, I love Nintendo, but again, just bringing them together, streaming it, and showing my favorite game. Everyone wants to play their favorite game all the time, and again, that's one of them. So I'm just gonna say real quick, that's one. If you guys haven't played it, you have to.
Really, like one of the most powerful opening sequences of any game I've ever played was the original Last of Us.
Yeah, like I'll make you cry, man.
Yeah.
And like honestly, like after the original opening scene, like a little bit, like not like at the very beginning after that, but like a little bit further in, like once you start meeting other people in the game, like every moment after that gave me the feels. There's one part of it that made me cry, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, PlayStation's came a long way, guys. PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, the almost forgotten PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and I have a lot of good memories with them. But now we are in a new generation. We are moving on to the PlayStation 5. I mean, they need to start getting, in my opinion, they need to start getting a little bit creative with the name at this point. But Katitsu, you seem to know, I believe you know a little bit more than I do on the console itself. Anything you want to say about it?
So definitely, let's just talk about just the technology itself. Technology has grown immensely to where we are seeing a lot more powerful components just in PCs and desktops alone. So now that it's being implemented in consoles, it's just going to give us just like that jump that we kind of needed for PS5, because the main thing everyone's like, oh, well, the graphics are going to be really good, but some people are like, yeah, but it looks kind of the same. But if you kind of just look past that and just look at the performance itself, like the biggest thing to me is the two things is ray tracing. Ray tracing is going to be really cool because I think that just has to do with the environment, how that looks. And they did a demo for an Unreal 5 engine demo where you could see how everything looks, where they're able to transition night and day and seasons, and just the lighting is just super just clean and just all in just one motion, And another thing is SSD. SSD is definitely going to help because it's going to reduce those loading times to like nothing. And I can say that I've experienced that because I have a laptop that has SSD as a hard drive, and I'm literally like my loading times are like that, like every single time. And even I've looked at YouTube and done a comparison of SSD and HDD loading times, and SSD loading times like way faster than the hard drive. So it's gonna be really cool that we're gonna have that. Um, the design itself, I was like, dude, how is this gonna look? Because we've seen all their Sony's trend has always been like these black and gray bland consoles. They're really big and blocky, but this one has a nice little sleek, clean look to it. Like of course they released the other colors later on, but we always get like the standard black or gray kind of look. But with this one, we're getting a nice little white paneling on the side, and then in the middle it's like black. Which if you guys seen the memes, people are putting like 2 pieces of paper on a router. And like, look, I have a PS5. I'm like, that's hilarious. But it looks clean, man. The controller I heard about, I can't remember what exactly what the functions with the controllers was. I know it's has to do something heavily with gameplay, and then but I think the biggest thing is the 2 different consoles. There was rumor that it was going to be all digital, same with Xbox. They were both going to be all digital. But of course, you have people who like to buy the disc so they don't kill all that space. So they decided to release 2, which was the one that has a DVD drive in it, and the other one that's all digital. Now, Microsoft has that with Xbox. They have an all digital one. So I'm thinking Sony kind of jumped on it too and said, let's do an all digital one. Now, comparing to the pricing of that, from my theory and what I've looked up, Xbox, they have an all digital one and one that has hard drive. Now, the all digital one is a little bit cheaper than the one that has the extra hardware because of the extra hardware. So I think that Sony's going to do that same thing where the all digital one is going to be at least $100 cheaper than the one with the extra hardware. And for someone like me, I started downloading all my stuff, so I don't have discs anymore. For reasons of I don't want to have discs all over a car, cases all over the place, and I don't like going to GameStop to buy my game. I'd rather just get them midnight, and then once they're done, or pre-order them once they're 9 p.m. I think Black, I don't want to call you Justin, man, because I want to say Justin, but it's weird. But I think we talked about this where he said, yo, man, once I pre-order it, man, 9 p.m. it's already loaded and ready to go, so I can just jump on and play. And I think that's going to be a huge determining factor for people who say. And then also, and this just kind of jumped in my head, memory too. We don't know how much one is gonna if this is gonna have more memory than the other, because of it's gonna have that extra hardware. So, but there's not as much details. We got the how it looks on the more details on the console and the controller, but not much of the pricing yet. But when it gets down to it, I think probably September we'll probably get pricings for everything.
So I have a quick question. Did you hear about the leak on Amazon about the PS5 pricing?
I think I heard something about it. I didn't look into the rumor for the Amazon leak on there.
So are you guys ready for this?
Yep.
The number I'm about to give you? Okay, so you have the all digital one. Mm-hmm. That one's that's predicted to go for $450 US dollars. And then if you want the full package with the CD drive, that's going to be going for $565 USD. Of course, this is only a leak. This is and like the original prices were in euros, I believe. So this is converted over.
Right.
This could easily change because I'm used to seeing a price point of $499, $399, $299, something along that lines.
Yeah.
So that's what I found out.
Yeah, I think so too, because that's like what the standard like MSRP kind of thing, where they have to they wanted to round off to that to be able to add taxes and round off to the nearest whatever when they're selling it. And it's funny, isn't Amazon always the trend of leaking titles and pricing for everything?
Yep.
I think that it's always Amazon or somewhere else, but it's always Amazon. But
and generally, it's not right all the time. So
Yeah, so but yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting to see what the price is. I'm definitely gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy the all digital one, but I'm definitely gonna buy it just because they have some releases on there that I can't wait for.
now I have a question for everybody. Before we move on, if you guys remember when the PS4 came out, I wasn't as excited for it, and the reason why is I felt like there wasn't as big as a jump in technology between the PS3 and the PS4. I feel like we're almost getting the same thing for the most part. But with the PS5, what we have right now, that's awesome. Solid state drive, ray tracing. I mean, it seems like everything's going to be running a lot smoother because, like Katitsu said, these load times on the PS4 be killing me to the point where I'm just a computer gamer now. And like,
right.
like if these consoles can catch up to these loading times on the computer, they might have a winning chance with a lot of computer gamers.
I'll be getting the day one.
Yeah. Man, that's
I'm gonna get the
hard,
Xbox too, but like I'm not getting the digital. Yeah, I'm a collector, so I have to have those physical discs. But I think it's gonna be hard to come by. And if I don't pre-order it, I mean, I think my cutoff will be $5.99. If it's more than that, I'm not touching it. I think it's gonna be $4.99 and then $3.99, kind of like what you were saying. I think that's what it's gonna be. So I'm worried I won't be able to get the physical one, and I'll cave and get the all digital one and be. But whatever, it's be playing next gen stuff. That the quick responsive menus, that's one of the reasons I like the Switch so much, because I mean it's gotten worse, but it's still very, very quick compared to the Xbox and PlayStation.
Oh heck yeah.
You can't stand clicking on like the store menu and it takes like 30 seconds for it to pop up. I'm just like,
It's just 30 seconds.
Listen, I know, but my gaming time is valuable. I got a 3-year-old, I got a wife, you know how it is. You got kids.
Yep. I hear you.
Like, I gotta squeeze my time in those 30 seconds add up.
And that's why I am a Steam player, because in that 30 seconds you're waiting to get into the store, I've already downloaded a game. I'm already playing it.
And it's funny because everyone's like, it's just 30 seconds. I'm like, if you understand the gaming mentality, that 30 seconds is like one life gone already. Like I gotta be on my game 100%.
Right.
That's just like if you're going into fast food and you're waiting like 2 minutes for your food and everybody's like, it's just 2 minutes. You're like, no, that's the longest 2 minutes I've had to wait for my food already. That's more than 2 minutes I wanted to wait. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I'm just
exactly. All right, guys. The live stream happened last week for the PlayStation 5. And let me tell you, I'd never been excited for a console release before. I mean, they happened before, but like I didn't. But suddenly I was like, oh my god, it's the PS2. Oh my god, it's the PS4. Like I wasn't really tripping like that. I'm tripping like that now. And they had some really good exclusives that they showed. They had some other games that they showed that I'm really excited for. One of those games being Resident Evil Village. SwitchBIT, I know you're a Resident Evil fan because I snuck in on one of your Revelation streams. And man, like how they designed the game, how they designed Chris Redfield, they actually like made him start aging finally. I mean, he's like almost in his 50s at this point. And just everything about it just looked awesome. They brought back Ethan from Resident Evil 7. I liked Ethan as a character. I liked everything that he went through. He went through a really harrowing experience, which you don't get to see in a lot of other Resident Evils. Like, he got his hand cut off. He got chased. He got hit by a car. He got like his girlfriend was going wild, hiding all these secrets. Like this guy like really like came into this world differently than how Chris and Jill and other characters came into this world. Like, oh, just zombies, blah blah. No, this guy got tortured, and I'm expecting to see the kind of same thing with Resident Evil Village, and they kind of continue the same route. But that was the one thing I really loved. Like, even though it's not a PlayStation exclusive, that was the one thing I loved about the stream, was how they brought back Resident Evil and how Resident Evil chose PlayStation to reveal their first trailer. But what about you guys? You guys are really looking forward to from what we've seen in the stream?
Going just real quick, I have some stuff about Resident Evil, and I don't want to take too long about it, but I kind of cringed. I'm not gonna lie, because what? Just real quick, I saw it and I was like, oh, is this like a new Castlevania? And then when they said the village, I looked and I said, this better not be Resident Evil 8. And they flashed the 8, and I was like, oh my god. And I was like, okay, I'm probably the one person who just wasn't a big fan of 7. But that's a whole
right there with you.
Yeah, but what Justin said, this is so weird saying your name, dude. But I think when you're saying the story, Ethan, I'm like, okay, that's actually pretty valid. He went through so much than everyone else was kind of trained to handle certain situations, but not like that. But their training helped him get through a lot of stuff. This is just some guy who ended up going to this weird mansion with his girlfriend, not knowing that his girl was a part of everything. So he had to deal with. So kind of seeing that realism in it was actually that's actually pretty good. But I think just the story itself, I mean, the gameplay itself, and I was like, you guys could have just rode this high of Resident Evil 3, you guys did that, but to each his own. So, but I'm excited for people who are excited for Resident Evil 8. I'll say that. I'm excited for those who are excited for Resident Evil 8.
I will say, I'm gonna end with Resident Evil with this. I'm excited for almost every Resident Evil game that came out.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not gonna say that there weren't Resident Evil games that made me kick my PlayStation over after playing it. And I'm really hoping Village doesn't do that. But I feel like I do feel like it's gonna use the same formula as Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
And it was definitely a lot different, but in my opinion, Resident Evil 7 is still better than Resident Evil 3 remake.
What do you guys think of Resident Evil 4 being remade?
Oh, I cannot wait for that.
I like it the way it is. I really like it. I'm still playing it now, but do you really want to do it? You think it'll be good?
Yeah, if you
no,
Resident Evil 4. Oh, I'm sorry, we're turning this into an argument now.
Here we go.
Was the best in the series.
Fight.
So for them for Resident Evil 4 was really cool to me because it wasn't the same formula. It literally, they built something totally new at Resident Evil 4. So that's why I think Resident Evil 4 is still one of the best games. And for them to say we want to polish it and give it a nicer look like Resident Evil 3 and Resident Evil 2, I think it's just going to be even better because we're going to really, if you think about it, like all the moments that happened in the old school RE2 and RE3, we were literally thrown into them with these two games with the over the shoulder look, the personal camera angle where you're like right on the character and you're experiencing everything. I thought that was just I swear to you, I finished Resident Evil 3 no problem. I'm still too terrified to finish Resident Evil 2 because that's how scary that crap was. I'm too terrified to go back and finish Resident Evil 2 just because how they did it. So I think Resident Evil 4 is just going to be like that, but even better because they already made an awesome Resident Evil game. For them to, I hope they don't change too much, but give it a nice polish and new looking cutscenes and everything like that. And I think it's going to look really good.
That's my opinion too. Like if they don't completely remake it from the ground up and they just improve the visuals and maybe add some quality of life improvements, I think that's the way to go because there's a lot missing from RE3. There's things missing from RE2, the remakes. So I don't want anything missing from RE4.
Yeah,
I want the cheesiness.
exactly.
I want the campiness. I just want it to look and play better, honestly.
But that's what I'm worried about, though.
Yeah.
Me too, man. I'm with Black on this one. I am with you on this one, Black. I'm scared about it, man. It's just like, it's such a good game. Don't kill it.
And I'm with you guys on that too. Like when it comes to remaking stuff, it's so hard to not mess with the thing that made it shine, and just like what SwitchBIT said, I hope they don't mess with the gameplay mechanics too much. They just kind of give us a nice polish and some new features that could make the game, to tweak it to like the aiming and all that stuff, but don't change anything else. And then don't let us control Ashley anymore. Take that part out of the game because that frustrated the most time is controlling Ashley because you can't do anything.
Or make Ashley more capable. Excuse my language. I'm going to say this right now. They turned Ashley like literally into a little bitch. There have been there are a bunch of capable women in the Resident Evil series, and then they gave us Ashley.
You pervert.
It's so frustrating. And like they could have done so much better. Overall, Resident Evil 4 is definitely my favorite Resident Evil game.
Yes.
Guys on the rest of that. That's why I'm afraid of the remake. Because I'm afraid they're gonna ruin it. Because there's only been one, in my opinion, there's only been one Resident Evil remake that was better than the original, and that was Resident Evil 1. In my opinion.
Yeah, that one was good. That one was good.
Amazing.
But two and even though Resident Evil 2 was great, I still prefer the original. I definitely prefer the original Resident Evil 3 over the remake for sure. So I'm just afraid that trend's going to keep going, and that's why I don't want them to remake it.
Who's played 4? Who's played 4?
Me.
Oh, I have, yeah. Okay. I played 4 like a lot.
Admit this. Don't be a liar. When you went down the stairs, and you had, what's your name up there? You turned around and looked up. You looked up just so you could hear. You turned around and looked up. You're like,
that won't be in it. That won't be in the remake.
That's probably gonna be a cutscene. Like when you hit the ladder, it's just like you see them just both coming down the ladder. You can't control anything. I'm not gonna lie. When I did it,
I'm still doing it now. Sorry.
When I did it, I was like, "Where's she at? Oh, there she is." And then I just okay, it just kept going. Like, where's she at his ladder? Oh, she's right there. Okay.
It was by accident.
Yeah. Oh my God.
They gotta have more better outfits for her too, though. After you beat it the first time.
All right, guys. Who's excited for the next Spider-Man Miles Morales game coming out this winter?
I am. You heard when I was talking about Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
I was talking about that, right? Yeah, I can't wait for that. And I'm happy they didn't make this an official sequel. It's just a spin-off, which is cool because now if this goes well, then this will have its own number 2. And a lot of people are speculating when is this happening, because if you guys know the Miles Morales story, he became Spider-Man after Peter Parker died. Like that's when he officially, he had his own suit.
That was a good movie.
Yeah. And that's when Peter Parker was just gone. It was just Miles. Like Peter taught Miles, and then something happened, and then Miles ended up taking the mantle of being Spider-Man. So a lot of people are speculating when does this happen? Does this happen after Peter dies? Because if you look at the trailer, Miles looks a lot older, a little bit more polished in his in learning how to be Spider-Man. And I'm just curious, like, what villains are we gonna get with Spider-Man? And the one thing I was happy is they gave him his electricity. I'm like, you can't have Miles Morales without his electricity and to be able to cloak himself. So I thought that was really cool how they kind of like showed those two aspects in gameplay. But I'm really excited, and of course we're getting it for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5.
Sweet.
Yeah,
nice.
We're getting it for both. So it's not just for the 5. We're getting it for both. It just really just a lot of speculation. I was hoping it wouldn't be 2, because if you guys played the last one and you saw the ending, you're like, dude, you guys set us up for number 2 100%. I want to see Venom in number 2, because you guys set it up that way.
So are you still expecting a Spider-Man game that's going to be a sequel to the original Spider-Man by Insomnia that we got in 2018?
Oh, 100%. I'm okay. 100%. It's just like I said, they set it up perfectly to say, hey, we're having number 2. We're letting you guys know there's number 2. I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't played it, but that ending completely set it up for number 2 for those who played it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, this Miles Morales one is going to be really cool. I like Miles Morales as Spider-Man. I have a couple of Spider-Man I do like, but I think Miles Morales is a cool Spider-Man. And he's a black Spider-Man, which makes it even cooler.
Right.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of people. Oh, go on, SwitchBIt.
I was going to ask, do you have any concerns like about what they're going to do with the character? Or do you trust the developer after that first Spider-Man game that they're going to knock it out of the park?
I trust them because during the development process, I watched a lot of their interviews and their development interviews where a lot of the Spider-Man lore and everything, they really dove into the comics and just kind of implemented everything from the comics into this game. And I feel like with Miles Morales, they're gonna do the exact same thing, and then also try to continue his story from the previous game into this one, and adding the lore of the comics into the game as well, to kind of form that nice dynamic, and also giving it its own story. Because that, I think that's the huge issue with superhero games now, is that they try to do, okay, we're gonna do this comic and we're gonna do this comic, and then we're gonna try to, and it's like this mess, you know, because either they're trying to do it based off the movies and trying to add comic book and animation story plots to it as well, which kind of makes it seem all over the place. But I felt like with this one, it was just everything just molded perfectly. We weren't rushed into all the supervillains. Sinister Six was like a huge surprise, and they did it perfectly. So I'm really confident to see what they'll do with the Miles Morales story. Really confident that they'll
Yeah, it seems like they're fans first, like fans who are making the game. That's kind of the vibe I get.
Yeah, and I think that's important when it comes to game development like this. It's always, think of it as a fan, you know, fans who think of it as you're a fan and you want to build your dream superhero game. And I think that's what those two games what's the word? They solidify that.
Before we exit the Spider-Man discussion, I had a question on Spider-Man. It just escaped me. I'm feeling like crap right now. Like it was like right there, and oh god, it's gone.
That's
was it like
bad,
Miles?
sorry.
Was it based on Miles Morales or based off that?
It was based off Peter Parker. Oh well, it'll come back to me. Right. Demon Souls.
Yeah,
that looked sick. And I'm not a Demon Souls fan, but comparing from what we had previously in terms of like the graphic capability compared to what we're seeing now, almost night and day.
Oh, Demon Souls is the game I'm 100% most excited for. I said from the get-go, if that game was there, I'm buying a PlayStation 5 at launch. And there were a lot of like speculations about either a Bloodborne remake or a Demon Souls remake for it. So I'm really excited that it was Demon Souls, because that's a game that I just picked up on a whim back in the PS3 days and just fell in love with it. The difficulty, the lore, the really unique approach to online. And it looks amazing. If y'all have seen like the side-by-side comparisons, like the graphical leap and all the different effects, it is just mind-blowing. And on top of that, the same people who remade Shadow of the Colossus, they're the ones, Bluepoint, they're the ones who are remaking this. And Shadow of the Colossus for PlayStation 4 is like, that's how you do a remake. Like, I wish they would do Resident Evil 4, honestly, because they just kept the spirit of the game right on point. And it looks like they're doing that with Demon Souls as well. My biggest concern is that they keep the archaic online components, because if you play Demon Souls, trying to like team up with friends like in real life was very, very difficult. You couldn't tell what server you were in. You had to like drop down your soul signs and hopefully it would show up in their server or whatever. There's all kinds of like tricks that were like all around the internet that you could somehow play with your friends, but you know, most of the time it didn't work very well at all. So hopefully they take what we've learned in gaming from then till now and they're able to like implement it easier, where I can just immediately team up with a friend and play online, go into their game or whatever. Because that, in my opinion, the online in that game is like the essence of it, bringing souls in to help you defeat bosses and stuff. So I'm not concerned. I think they're going to do it well, but I'm going in cautiously optimistic with that. But that's my number one game. There's a lot of cool games for sure that were shown, but that's my number one.
Go on.
Sorry. I played Demon Souls because I've heard so many good things. So I wasn't one of those people who were like, I'm not gonna touch it. I said it's $9 right now, so let me just pick it up and see how and try it out. It wasn't. I'll say this. Back then, I wasn't that big on games like that. It was kind of hard for me to get into until I played Bloodborne, and my cousin got Bloodborne, and we played Bloodborne like crazy. It was pretty fun. He fell into it like 100%. There was a point where I stopped playing, where it's like the secret dungeon, you fight this freaking dog thing, and I had it dead to right, and it killed me, and it just like frustrated me to my core. I said, I am done. I'm done. But and then I played Neo and Neo 2 and all these other adaptations of it, and I like them. You know, they grew on me pretty well. And I hear what you mean because Bloodborne had that same thing where you had to drop a a point somewhere, and you have to pray that this person is able to join you, so you can kind of like co-op instead of like saying, hey, I'm going to create a separate room, I'm going through the game, just jump in and join me. So I do agree with you on that, where I feel like all games who have add an online component should take example and say, okay, what did we do this last generation? Oh, we did this. When people had difficulty, well, we need to actually make something so then people can actually play together. And I think playing together, like you said, Demon Souls, you definitely want to have someone right by your side to be able to, knock out those boss battles. Those boss battles are no joke. And to have another person just kind of takes the weight off trying to beat it by yourself down a little bit. So but I hear you on that one.
All right, guys, if there's anything we should take away from all these games coming out, it is to, before you play Resident Evil Village, play Resident Evil 4. Before you play Spider-Man Miles Morales, 100% play the original Spider-Man. Just play that game because it's awesome. Also, play Demon Souls. I played Bloodborne and I gave up. And if you can handle difficult games, pick up Demon Souls. But that's all I have for the PS5. I'm more interested in things that have been happening with the Switch and the PlayStation, and mainly in regards to the ports that we have onto the Switch from PlayStation games. Retro, what do you have to say about that, man? Because I know you're huge on like a lot of the ports that are coming over, because a lot of them are older games. So what do you have to say about that, man?
It was pretty interesting growing up, having seen when PlayStation came out, that was the rival to Nintendo. So to see how far they've come to be able to merge games like Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII, I believe 9's on there, and then to allow the Spyro, the trilogy, and the Crash Insane trilogy is just pretty awesome, because people that, like a lot of us, like I'm primarily Nintendo Switch, don't play those. I get to play those ports, and you're seeing like Borderlands is coming over to the Switch. Holy moly, stuff like that. I'm just like, how does that even happen? Like, I don't know if you guys are excited for it. I just recently got into Borderlands, and I'm like, where has this game been? Like, and now it's coming over to the Nintendo Switch, and I'm like, what? So I'm pretty excited. It's just awesome how generations are crossing and fusing. Like, do you guys have a favorite port that came over from like the PlayStation to the Nintendo Switch? Or do you guys think it's something that should be left alone? What do you think?
I don't know. Like, I've always wanted to pick up some of those ports, mainly the RPGs, because I think RPGs on the Switch is like perfect because you can take it wherever you want. I think that's why most of my RPGs are on the Switch anyway, because I love how portable it is. But
Right.
I think from the one that I have the most desire of wanting to get is probably Final Fantasy, what is it, 12?
Yeah.
Because I love 12 when it came out for PS2. I remember I got Dragon Quest 9 and they said you can demo 12 with Dragon Quest 9. I'm like, okay. So I demoed 12. I'm like, dude, this game is awesome. It's completely different, but it doesn't take away from anything, and it's a nice story and gameplay. So and then when they had the Zodiac edition, they're like, this is the one that came in Japan, and then now it's out here in the States, and they ported it for PS4, and then they brought it to the Switch. And it's crazy because like when you think about that stuff, you're like, okay, what should I get it for? And for me, Switch always wins. I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna get it for the Switch because how portable it is. So I think for me, it'll probably be Final Fantasy 12.
But did you guys also see that they're also doing digital games for the PS Vita? Like now, like a lot of games are porting over that are newer. And I thought that was kind of interesting. I saw that on the Spawnwave his podcast today on Spawnwave, and I was kind of listening, and I thought I heard Vita, and he said, wait, yes, you heard it right, the Vita. And I'm like, what? So it's kind of interesting that they're taking old technology and they're bringing it back for people. Like the PS Vita is not old by any means, it's not like a NES or SNES, but it's pretty cool. But the way that they're actually taking and transforming, I'm gonna do something real quick. They're taking and transforming that fit onto something like this, you know, and then they're putting it onto the PlayStation, putting it on the Nintendo Switch. So I thought it was pretty cool.
I recently got a PlayStation Vita. I got it from a pawn shop for like $60. So I definitely like made out really well on that deal. But I had never had one before.
Dude,
Yeah, it was it was a great
that's
deal.
cool.
And I went on the shop and I downloaded a bunch of PS1 games. And then I looked at all the indie titles. I was really surprised to see how many games on the Vita were also on the Switch that I never heard of. Like they had come out on the Vita prior to the Switch, I'm guessing. But a bunch of games that I knew because of the Switch that I didn't realize that were on, you know, the PlayStation Vita or the PS4, PS3 or whatever. Because just like Tetsu said, I'll take the Switch any day because I can play it in my bed. You know what I'm saying? And I love all the Final Fantasy games, but my favorite is definitely Grandia. They brought Grandia 1 and 2 over. And I played Grandia 2 on the Dreamcast. I don't even know if it was on PS1. I know the first one was. And like that's one of my favorite, just old forgotten RPGs for sure.
Oh, go ahead, Justin.
I was gonna ask you guys, like, for ports that we do not have, like, what would you guys like to see come onto the Switch? That's a PlayStation game, and I'm gonna start off, and I know it's never gonna happen, but I'm gonna say Spider-Man.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I agree, 100%, 100%. I think that on the Switch they have plenty of. It's not even a control issue. It's not even that it doesn't have graphics wise. I just think it's just where they don't want to let go of the Spider-Man franchise because it's strictly for the PlayStation. And so they want to make sure that they're getting it right there. But if they just let go of that a little bit, man, that would be insane being able to carry Spider-Man on your Switch, like on the go. That would be bad.
Here's why I don't think this is going to happen, because Sony owns Insomnia.
Yeah.
They
just recently bought them, didn't they?
Yeah, recently, because Insomniac did stuff for Microsoft, Sunset Overdrive, and then they
that's right.
And but yeah, because Insomniac is has a close relationship with Sony since
Infamous.
And what was it? What is it? Ratchet and Clank is like a huge title for them. So, so definitely. But I think for me, the a port that I would love to see on the Switch is Xenogears. I would love to see Xenogears. I love Xenogears. My cousin would always say this. He would every time when I was younger, I played RPG. He'd always mess with me. He was like, you know, when you start, you're never gonna finish it. And I say, shut up, I'm gonna finish the game. And I never finished it. I don't realize how long. But then, you know,
Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Twisted Metal was a good one.
It's especially this one right here for the PS2, Twisted Metal Black. And then Twisted Metal 3 for the PS1 for the win. Need that one on the Switch for.
I will say this: Twisted Metal is one of the most slept on games.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because a lot of us didn't give it enough attention. And I keep forgetting that Twisted Metal even existed when it was one of my favorite games when the PlayStation came out. It was actually one of the first games I had.
It was so huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was one of those people who didn't play.
I would say for myself, I'm just going to say, I know it's not going to happen either. The Last of Us. I would love that. God.
That ain't happening.
Let me dream. Let me dream about it.
I feel like your life will be complete if that happens.
Yes, it would be. 100%.
That'd be pretty cool.
And you won't have to change your YouTube name. It all works out.
Yeah.
Exactly, man. Exactly. That's why, man.
Naughty Dog. Sony has Naughty Dog too, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, it's not happening. Damn it.
You never know, though. They let go of Crash Bandicoot. So you never know. Something can happen.
Yeah, they let go of that on a long time. Because it came out for GameCube. Like, what was it? Warped came out for GameCube.
Yeah. And GBA. GBA for it too.
Who owns them? It's
Activision.
Activision has license to that.
Huge company.
Well, Did Sony own Crash or did Activision own Crash?
Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog.
Yeah,
Naughty Dog.
yeah, it was Naughty Dog, right? Okay, yeah, and then they let that. Why did they let that go?
Well,
That's
because
that's history, dude. We have to look
That's
that up.
crazy.
Yeah, because like Activision owns, I believe, the Tony Hawk franchise. Am I correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's coming over to, isn't it coming over to the Switch?
I don't know. I don't think
The-
so.
No.
PlayStation,
No.
Xbox, and PC. I
Or
think.
is that on my wish list? That's on my
Yeah.
wish
Tony
list.
Hawk.
But for my
Oh, my
wish
wish
list game, my port, I want Final Fantasy Tactics. Must just give us all
Oh,
the
that
Final
would
Fantasy
look. That's
games.
perfect for the Switch.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's
Oh.
Mr. Switch, you brought up that you wanted to port over The Last of Us, and that's actually interesting because The Last of Us 2 came out at 9 p.m. PST, and it's available for everybody right now. And I know Last of Us is a huge Nintendo PlayStation exclusive, and I know you're super excited for it right now, dude.
Yes, like super excited. Like can't breathe right now. Like shit, I want to get into it right now. I got it right here. I got it right here. I just downloaded the first CD. I'm all set to go because I'm gonna stream it tonight. It's just like, man, I remember going to GameStop. I had to wait in line. It was at noon. I was waiting in line. I was like a little in the back, but they only let a certain amount of people go to GameStop. And this guy's walking out with the Alien Edition big box set. Oh my god, dude, like, so I was actually about to buy that, but then they sold out, and I was like, man, maybe I'll get it later. But yeah, going into the first one real quick is, if you guys haven't played it, you have to. It's got a great story. There's Joel and Ellie, the great characters, how their characters develop through the game. Joel needs to protect Ellie and take a team down, to certain areas. So kind of like to find, because it looks like she had the cure. So it's set in like a post-apocalyptic scene, like pandemic kind of thing, and you got a lot of zombies and different types of creatures. It's scary. Again, emotional in the very beginning when Joel loses his daughter in the beginning. It's just like, wow, it just hits you right in the beginning. So I'm expectations for this, for 2 when I stream it tonight, is I expect, all the theories I expect to be completely wrong. I expect for Naughty Dog to really just hit me hard with the story, how it's going to twist around, and the environments look beautiful. The whole game looks amazing. And I just know that this is going to be one of the contenders. I'm hoping one of the contenders for Game of the Year. That might be saying too much, but I'm thinking, because the first one was incredible. I don't know what you guys feel, what other games could be contenders. But in the meantime, it's just, I think this game is great. So again, if you haven't tried it, you should, you must get a feel of this. I recommend all gamers. My son plays everything in the hardest mode. I tell him not to, so he's gonna be stressing out. I'll play it in normal mode. That's all I need. Enjoy the game. Don't play it in easy. Don't be too easy. Play normal.
Hey.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
You don't want to put easy.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, I do that
Wait.
sometimes.
Who does easy? Who does easy?
I do easy. I enjoy the
do.
story.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I did this one, I'm like, I was torn. I was like, do I not want to be a punk? And at the end of the game, it says you put on easy, or do I just? I'm like, you know what, man? I'm gonna put on easy for right now. And if I feel like it's too easy, then I'll switch it. But right now, I'm like, yo, I'm just gonna leave it here. If I put it on hard,
No
I'm
shame.
done. If I put on easy, I'm done. If I put on
my
normal,
son my son's got super hard or whatever. Like, dude, don't do that. You ain't gonna play the game. So I'm in another room. He's like, fuck. Like, dude, what I tell you? So put it on normal right now. It's like, because you got it. Okay, I guess for some of you guys, or for anyone who does want it easy to enjoy the game, I do want to enjoy the game. I think I can do it in normal just fine. I know I'm sure I'll find a struggle with it. But again, Jetson, you were playing today. Without spoiling anything, what do you think so far?
Like I said, man, well, before I get into it, I just want to say Naughty Dog has an incredible way of telling stories, like incredible storytelling ability that you don't see too much in too many games, because it's always taken by gameplay. But Naughty Dog has a great way to do it, and I think Last of Us is the is like their best novel they've ever done. And I'll say a novel because it's exactly like that. It's just a novel or a movie. It's exactly like that. And I'm playing Last of Us 2. Like I said, man, I was like, do I want to just enjoy this story or do I want to play on normal? And I'm like, I'll enjoy the story now. And just like you said before,
Are you playing it easy?
I'm playing on light. It's like light or something like that. And I was like, I just want to enjoy the story. And then I think you mentioned it before, the replayability. I'll go back and play it. And so far, man, like I said, it starts you off. It starts you off just to get your feet wet again. You know, it doesn't just kind of throw you into it, but at the same time, you enjoy how everything looks and just how the characters interact and just everything. And then once they say, okay, yeah, we're gonna keep you on training wheels, and at this part, we're just gonna rip them right off, and then you're in it. And when I was playing, I'm like, oh dang, I was like, okay, and they're teaching me how to play, and I'm like, and some of the stuff I already knew. I was like, I remember it had this and this and this, and then like to the point where it kind of slowed down a little bit again, and I'm dealing with all the old enemies. I'm like, okay, cool, and then they put me in a spot where I'm like, oh, there's only like a couple of enemies. Let me hurry up and take them out. And I'm like, what is going on? And all of a sudden they just hit me with something. And I'm like, I gotta go. And I'm like, I have to remember everything right now. If I don't, I'm gonna die. So it's, and then I think from then on, it's just this incredible. I'm not too far into it, but it's just this incredible ride and this incredible experience. And it's just like you said,
landscapes are gorgeous.
Yeah, and just like you said, and you know, just when you get attached to these characters and you feel what they feel, you're like, yo, man, I gotta like I had to stop playing because I was like, man, like I gotta come back here real quick because I got my nephew over here and I gotta get back to the real world. I can't be stuck here in Last of Us for too long, man. But yeah, it's incredible. Just so far, it's just really incredible.
So
have y'all been spoiled on it?
Huh?
Nope.
Okay, good. I did. I unfortunately ran into the spoils. So I mean, obviously, I'm not going to say anything, but they're pretty hard to avoid.
I'm just gonna say I think I know which one you're talking about. I'm not gonna say
Don't do it. I'm about to get
but
I know I'm not gonna say nothing at all.
I'm not gonna say anything either. But I think I know what you're talking about.
I'm glad y'all haven't been spoiled on it. Anything.
I avoided like the plague. I was not playing.
Oh yeah.
Hell no, me neither.
Especially when you subscribe to other YouTubers who have like the early access and the thumbnails. Yeah. I hate that. Don't make thumbnails of the spoilers. Make a nice generic thumbnail and put your whatever on there. Don't make a thumbnail of a part of the game that happened. Then I'm like, well, avoiding spoilers, you guys make it a freaking thumbnail. Like, what are you doing?
I'm sure I saw the thumbnail. I just didn't care and I forgot it.
That was good.
But I think I know what SwitchBIT is talking about. But yeah, man, the game is incredible. I really like. I really do hope that you just enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as you did the first one, because this one is deserving of a second part, and it's really good.
So the first one went over topics. I mean, if you guys just even pay attention remotely, it went over some very heavy topics. You know, losing your daughter, family members. It went over suicide. It got to the point where it even went over, you know, torturing, interrogation, to the point where I was like, holy shit, this feels like more real than anything I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
And like going all the way to rape. And do you guys feel that these topics that we saw in the first one are going to be in the second one, or if they're going to be topics that are on the same path that are going to come up to the same severity as what they were in the first one?
I think go ahead. SwitchBIT. No, SwitchBIT, you go ahead.
I think that Naughty Dog are masters at storytelling, and they're also masters at taking a mirror about what's going on in the real world and shining it on the player. So they can see, you know, what's reflected in society and themselves through the story that they're telling. I think they're really good at highlighting and just being current, you know, with the world and the struggles of the world. I think the first one was a really, really strong narrative. I played through half of it, and then I watched the other half on YouTube of the first one because I didn't
playing on
it.
Easy.
I didn't own it. My buddy owned it. We played through half of it, and then I had to go home. So I was like, I didn't have it, so I watched it. But they're so good at that. Like, I think you can take a lot from all the games they've had and kind of like reflect on it personally. and I think that they're going to do that with this game. I mean, every game they do. So they're really good at storytelling, for sure.
And Mr. Switch, is there something you're going to be streaming today?
Yes, I'm going to be streaming The Last of Us 2. I'm very excited. I'm going to try to contain myself right now, relax, take a deep breath, take it in. I think I'm going to be scared out of my ass because it's getting dark right now. And I can just see that there's the best time yet to do it at night. And I already told the lady, you got to be in another room. So I'm going to set you up and, have the baby, relax.
Bro, don't be by yourself playing this game, because you're going to be playing this game and then you're going to hear like this clicking noises. You're going to think there's a clicker behind your back.
Man. I have stories about playing games at night. I have stories about
that's what I want. I want to feel that. Go ahead.
I have stories about playing games at night, man. I think I did one stream of Resident Evil Revelations 2, and I did it at night, and I tried to do a creepy thing where I had like my lantern in front of me as the light. I thought that was cool. And then when me and my cousin played Resident Evil 4 for the first time, we had this huge house, like my parents had this huge house, and it get dark, like it'd be pitch black with no light. So we're playing it at night. And so we're like, yo, let's go get some water. And we had to go downstairs. And so we opened the door and we look downstairs, it's pitch black. We're like, you know what? We can go thirsty. It's fine. We can wait till thirsty.
One of my streams, I was playing Resident Evil 2, I think it's like in 2019, and I was just chilling, and you can when you play Resident Evil 2, at a certain point you activate Mr. X, and you can literally hear him walking everywhere. So
oh yeah.
So there's a point where I heard his footsteps and he was in the same room as I was, because the music started playing. I was literally looking everywhere. I'm like, where the hell is he? And out of nowhere he throws this punch. I jump up and scream. My wife's laughing in the bedroom. I can hear her laughing.
That's the main reason I stopped playing. That's the main reason I stopped playing Resident Evil 2, because of that fool. The second I found out that, first of all, he wasn't even in the original, so I don't know what business he has in this one.
Oh, he's in the original. He's just in the
original. Was he really?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the scenario B.
Yeah, but he didn't follow you all over the place. I don't remember him following you all over the place.
Not like that.
Yeah.
Not like that.
So he would just show up.
Yeah, I remember I'm trying to do stuff, and I'm like, what the heck is that noise? And I turn around, and the wall's gone, and he's there. I'm like, I'm done. That's the reason why I stopped playing, is because of him. That's the whole reason why I stopped playing the game.
That should be the reason why you keep on going. Let it be the reason that you got to do it.
I couldn't take that game. Already terrified me. The first part of it, where you go under the thing, and it's pitch black, and the zombies come at you, and I was already terrified at that point. So then when they had that aspect of he can randomly appear as I'm trying to do stuff and survive, and grant you, that game is limited on resources. I wasted on my bullets, so I was done. I was done already. So I was like, "There's no point in me playing this. I'm gonna die unless I find it." I was done.
You should have played on easy, man.
Exactly. You know what?
Wow.
I have a confession. I played Resident Evil 3 on easy. That's the whole reason why I got through that game. I played on easy, and I had as many bullets as I could.
I started on normal, and I kept dying. They kept showing me hey, you should play on easy. You suck. And I did.
Don't you hate that when they do that?
Yeah.
It's I know I'm dying. Shut up. You don't have to remind me of that.
I can already project myself playing to some parts of this game, because I'm going to be doing it for a straight 3 hours. That's the time limit tonight. Wow. Good 3 hours, see what's going on. I don't want to rush it, but I feel like I'm going to have to bring a clean pair of underwears and I'm not going to go nowhere.
Man, don't ruin a good pair of underwear because you piss yourself. Don't do that.
Wash them. It's fine.
You can wash them.
I'll say this, Mr. Switch, when you do play it, man, just enjoy everything. The moments where they're like, you want to stop and do this, just do it, because then you get to just see just how wonderful the game looks, and that's what I had to do. I'm known to just, if I'm into a game, I know I'll just sink in and I'll just commit. And that's why I had to stop. I was like, this is something
to explore.
I really want to take my time with it, and just after I'm done playing that whatever happened, I want to soak everything in and just walk around and then be like, all right, cool, let's get back into it. So I think you'll definitely enjoy this game beginning to end. Even though I haven't even finished it yet. I don't know how far I am into it. I think I'm still in the beginning parts of it, but like I'm still just absolutely just loving the game.
20 to 30 hours, I would say, they said.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it 100%.
Oh yeah.
Guys, Last of Us is definitely top tier video game. Along with a lot of people told me this. Like when I ask people what their top 3 game is, Last of Us is always on that. Is usually on that list. Ocarina of Time is usually on that list.
Yep.
And Final Fantasy VII is usually on that list.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think they're going to ruin the sequel. Like it's definitely one of the best games of all time. And Mr. Switch, enjoy. If anybody else is going to play it, enjoy the second one because I don't think it's going to disappoint. From what I've been
7
told,
years.
Sorry. From what I've been told, if we have any kind of biases, I'm not going to be very specific on this one because I don't want to bring those topics in. But if you have any kind of biases, you need to let them go in this game. They've got a lot of bad rating because of those biases, so definitely let them go if you're going to play it. Guys, we are actually at that point where we're an hour in. Thank you everybody for joining. Thank you THESWITCHBIT for covering for us. Thank you Kotetsu for being here again. We appreciate your presence. Thank you Mr. Switch for coming through. Retro Styles, we all had a wonderful conversation. And to everybody that showed up, thank you as well. And have a great rest of your weekend, guys.
All right,
See you
man.
later.
Take care, guys.
All right, you guys have a good night. Have a good weekend. Happy Father's Day to everybody.
Yeah.
Yep, happy Father's Day to everybody. Yep.
Oh, and we have a quick reminder too about tomorrow, right? For the
yes. Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Oh, okay. No. Tomorrow we have myself, Retro, and Kotetsu. So far it's us. I might have a few others at 1:30, right? 1:30 Central Time. What time would it be? Like 11:30?
It'll be 11:30 for us.
11:30 for us, yeah.
Yeah.
We're just gonna I decided to do a stream, a podcast, Zoom thing for everything recent that's been happening in the world today. Whether it's topics of racism or protesting, everything that just the virus, just all of it. We might briefly go through some of the things that are going on and just try to show support and have a positive stream just to talk about the goodness of life and what people are missing out and lives being lost and the unfairness of what's going on, and just kind of, again, we got people, different cultures that we popping up, and let's just support each other and show that love. So that's what tomorrow's going to be about, is just join us at 1:30 Central Time. And that's pretty much it. Again, I'll be hosting with the Kotetsu and Retro Styles. Hope you guys do join us there. Anyone, you guys are all invited to jump in. But again, we're just gonna talk. There's no negative talk. It's just gonna be positive, and that's it. If you guys feel like just want to say something, say it. And we all kind of agree. And remember, we're all one people. We're not separate. We're not different. There's no different colors. There's nothing. Like there's nothing but pure. Everyone is one person.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure of that. So, and something to make very peaceful. Retro, you want to say anything, or Kotetsu?
You pretty much said it. Tomorrow is just gonna be just letting people know what's going on, educating people about what's going on so that they can be able to make that help make a difference in, changing the way things have been done. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I agree. I like that we're doing this because we're able to show, like, even growing up, race was not even a thing. Like, even now, I don't say that this is this race. They're all friends. My eyes are just one centered. So, like, you guys are my peeps. That's the only way to put it. Like, all my friends, family, I just consider everybody my family. So that's why I'm excited tomorrow that we're going to get this going on, because then we can share that love, that positive energy with people, and just let them know it's one love, one way.
But all right, guys, you heard it. Tomorrow, 11:30 Pacific Standard Time, 1:30 Was it? That's not Mountain. Wisconsin
Central.
time.
Central,
time.
Wisconsin time.
Oh my gosh.
And 2:30 Eastern time. So yeah, guys, it's going to be a good time, good vibes. So show up, show your support, and like they said, no negativity. Negativity will get your ass booted. But all right, guys, everybody, have a great night.
All right, guys. Take care, guys.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.